celebration of International Women's Day. I am the president of the chapter here in Southern Palmetto State of the United Nations Association's Southern Palmetto State chapter. And then I'm also the founder and president of 17 SDGs Executive Council. And our purpose is to highlight and uplift the community. God will open up doors for you. This is true in my journey. He will open up doors for you that you will never see coming. Be ready to walk through them. And sometimes you have to be uncomfortable. He'll put you in an uncomfortable position in order to position you for where he's positioning you for your exactly to be comfortable for greatness, and he's positioning you for it. And be ready for it, and be accepting to being uncomfortable. Also, I always tell my students to always note that you never know who's watching. You could be in a store, you could be at school, you could be at work somewhere, and you never, ever know who's watching you.
Don't let anyone kill your joy.
Hi, my name is Kira Ann Brady. I'm a licensed massage therapist in South Carolina, and I'm combining therapeutic massage with spirituality. Be all that you can be and follow through regardless of the struggle, and encourage one another.
Hello, my name is Tiffany McCullough, and I'm a science educator in South Carolina Public Schools.
Hello, I'm Dee Drake, and I'm the owner of Locks for Life Hair Salon and Emergency Service Coordinator at Johns Hopkins. Be the queen that God put you here to be. Don't let anyone tell you that you're not. And always respect yourself.
Today is, as a youth advocate, what do you advocate for the most regarding the youth?
Youth voice, adults allowing youth an opportunity to have a voice, respecting that voice, and guiding them on how to project, how to ask questions, and how to be heard in the world.
That's interesting. A lot of today's youth speak out strongly for mental health, generational trauma. What do you say about that? Do you think that is progressive? Do you think that it helps the youth move forward and older generations move forward in understanding the youth? Or do you think that there's a different way to help with mental health?
No, I think youth have the right and should speak out, but I think we have to do a little backpedaling and get adults to a place where they understand that just because they're youth, it doesn't mean that they don't hurt, it doesn't mean that they don't have problems. We have to get past the be seen and not heard, and work with them and acknowledge their feelings and help them learn how to project, how to let people know when they're hurt, how to ask for help, and just how to get the help that they need when they need it the most that works for them, not the adults who are working with them.
As a youth, we advocate for mental health and to, you said, speak out, be seen and heard. So for adults who struggled with that when they were younger, but that's generational trauma that the youth advocate for. So when you were younger and you had trouble speaking out, or people didn't accept you speaking out, how do you say for them to heal that youth part in them even though they're older?
Therapy. I'm all for therapy, and therapy can be so many different things. It can be self-care, it can be journaling, it can be working with a licensed therapist to work through those feelings, finding out what their triggers are and the root of their trauma, and then trying to heal from the inside out.
Okay, so for the youth that have been hard, have you ever met a youth that's hard to steer in the right direction? Like, you have all the tools to help them, you guided them the right way, but they're just not accepting of it or struggling to accept it. How do you steer them in the right path?
Well, I believe relationships matter, and for any adult who's working with youth, there has to be some connection. There has to be a positive relationship. I can't walk up to you and go, oh, I see you're having this problem, you need to go here. You don't know me. You don't know if I am actually for you or want to help you. So building a solid relationship is the first step towards helping you take that step to get the help.
For youth that's interested in STEM, because that's what you teach, how do you get them interested in STEM?
I work with the adults who work with them, and I train those adults how to be engaged. I first teach them about equity. Equitable practices is something that we have to look at. One of my specialty areas is actually working with women in STEM. I'm on a project called Million Girl Moonshot, and we have a goal to engage 1 million girls in STEM over the course of the next 5 years. And we do that through trainings, through engagement, working with schools and programs to make sure that girls and youth in general see people who look like them. If I never see someone who looks like me who's a scientist, in my mind, well, I can't be a scientist because I've never seen anyone. So working with adults to make sure that they have the tools to engage youth and show them that you can do this. Working with programs like National Girls Collaborative and the If Then collection, which showcases women in STEM in all of the fields that they're in, showcasing different opportunities for them to be engaged in STEM, like construction. A lot of women are getting into the construction field, but it's by happenstance. So making sure girls see that they have those opportunities out there.
For those that might not know, what is STEM?
Science, technology, engineering, and math. And STEM is in so many different areas. You can get a job being a drone operator and flying a drone over a construction site. That's STEM. You can get into coding computers. That's STEM. Mathematics, figuring out as an engineer who is figuring out the math portion of something. That's STEM.
For some students, growing up, I had struggled in math a lot, and I never felt like any math teacher I had, I didn't feel like they really understood how bad I was struggling in it. So how do you help some students that are super interested in math or science but are just struggling to really understand it, but they don't want to give it up, they still want to stay in it? So how do you help them learn easier than what some other students are learning?
Finding clubs and groups where learning can be fun. And then I'm going to go back to relationships. I bet if you had a teacher who you had a really close relationship with, you would have been more likely to reach out for help from that teacher. Working with teachers to work on, again, equity pieces, because a lot of times we'll push the boys up front because, that's a boy thing. But helping girls to understand that it's okay to want to be in the field, and then giving them the resources that they need to feel that they can accomplish that.
So the thing here today is about technology and breaking the gender gap between male and female in technology. So how does technology come into play with STEM?
Oh my gosh, in so many different ways. I am working with a group of youth in Ohio, and right now they are participating in what's called a Technovation Challenge. Each of the teams is built of girls from 3 to 5 girls. They are looking for a issue within their community, and they're working to design an app to solve that problem. Simple coding. And the adults who are working with them don't have to be proficient either. So finding opportunities to get girls engaged in things like coding in a way that's fun, engaging, and meaningful to them is really important.
With coding, we worked with coding a little bit in journalism last semester. So what exactly is coding? We only worked on it like a small portion of it in the project that we were doing. So what is coding?
Coding is the back end of the apps that we use on our phones. Someone somewhere took an idea and they came up with we'll call it a sentence that goes into programming that app so that you can use it to do whatever it is you want to do.
That's interesting. I've never thought about doing STEM, but now you got me interested. So I think
I've got a bunch of resources.
Especially the technology part, I'm interested.
Yes. there's lots of different ways to get engaged with technology. You know, there's coding. You can do it from that way. You can computer programming, working with machines and programming machines to do different things. You can go from that way. So many different ways.
And it's interesting because we already use technology on our phone, so we can figure out how to work an app and we can figure out how to do these other things, and obviously we can get into STEM with no one kind of educates it that
Right,
way.
because if you don't know, if you don't have someone who looks like you, or you haven't seen, you know, what it looks like and how you can, you won't go into it. And so that's one of the things that I am working on, is making sure that our women of color and women in underrepresented communities have access and knowledge about what is out there for them.
Thank you for all that information. That's super useful because I'm not going to, I look up anything that I hear that's interesting, and so now
Check out the If Then collection. It is a collection of women, and you can see their bios, and these are just women who maybe sat in a position like this and someone said, hey, you could do this, and they got interested in it. And then there's also Fab Femmes, which is another resource of women who are in the STEM fields. Equitable family engagement, meeting families where they are, doing things, and then when we think about socioeconomics, you can't always have parent-teacher conferences.
does technology play into being a licensed massage therapist, or do you use technology at all?
Well, we have software programs that we use in order to take notes, you know, so that we have what we call SOAP notes, and that's, you know, in case of a doctor or somebody that we're referring to, they have, through HIPAA, of course, you know, they have means to this medical information.
So massage, we have an idea of massage therapists, and we think it's just, you just play into somebody's skin and massage them, but what other roles do you have as a massage therapist?
Would you rephrase the question?
So what other things do you do as a massage therapist? Like, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot that goes into it. So what other things do you do as a massage therapist besides like massages, like therapy? Maybe you said spirituality. So what do you do with spirituality and massage therapy?
Well, sometimes throughout the massage, you know, it's sort of like a ministry, you know, where I'm speaking to the person or I'm encouraging the person. A lot of times they feel the need to talk about their emotional problems, and you know, there's a scope of medical knowledge that we're supposed to abide by. So, with respect to that, you know, I like to go outside the box. My desire is to really help somebody. So, you know, I believe in obeying the laws of the land. However, my first master is the Lord Jesus Christ. So I'd like to incorporate spirituality throughout massage, because I believe that it's mind, body, and spirit that we're healing. We're ministering to the body as well as the mind and the spirit, and it all works together for homeostasis, or balance of all three. So this is achieving wellness, this homeostasis.
For those that might not know, what is homeostasis?
Homeostasis is a balance between your mind, your body, and your spirit. When all three components are operating correctly, the person has a better chance of healing completely and enjoying their life longer.
So what are some benefits of massage therapy?
Pardon?
What are some benefits of massage therapy?
There are a lot of benefits to massage. They're manipulating the soft tissue to be in balance with the skeletal system. So a lot of times massage is incorporated with chiropractic as a means of wellness. It helps the body to relax, to rehabilitate. It enforces the body's natural way to heal itself through effleurage and moving the lymphatic system and the blood system toward the heart. This is achieving, you know, wellness that the body naturally does. We're just helping it along.
How does mental health play into massage therapy? So when someone comes in and they're getting a massage and they're feeling all this tension, and you do your part for them, what else would they have to go if they're struggling with something that's mental? How do you help them get through that? So how does...
Well, I usually leave it up to them because, you want to create the window for them to be who they are and however they express. A lot of times through somatic therapy or massage and body work, we are reaching areas of the psyche, so, especially around the shoulders and around the base of the spine and the pelvic region. That's the seat of the emotions, and a lot of Chinese medicine correlates with this. But to answer your question, I believe that the psyche is helped, through talking things out. Sometimes it's through somatic therapy, engaging a traumatic experience. For instance, an accident, I may be working on someone's cervical spine or the neck, and in the rotation or some kind of like massage work, they will burst in tears, or they'll yell, or they'll tremble, or these are emotions that are expressed through the body physically. So there's a very real incorporation of the psyche and the body. We think it, and then it manifests in our body.
So when they feel that tension, like releasing as you're helping them, like that's really a thing. Like I see on TV sometimes where they'll like work through the feet, like to release. They said that like a lot of trauma is in the feet or like in the hands. Is that like a real thing where trauma really is in certain parts of the body?
Yes, there can be trauma located in the hands and feet. We call that reflexology, to open those meridians. The nervous system also, it starts with the brain and the spinal cord, and then it goes out through the arms to the hands, through the legs and the feet, but it all stems from the brain and spinal cord. So everything starts there and ends, you burn your fingers, you feel it, and you'll feel it for a while, right? Because that's where all the nerving ends. So that plays a major role in the psyche too. You're working on your hands, you're working on your mind. So a lot of this is incorporated through the body.
Now I'm interested in something else, because the way that you guys have been explaining what you do is not ever a way that I've heard people explain it. So I'm thinking STEM is just science, just something regular, or just I'm thinking massage therapy is just just go in there like, hey, I need to release a little bit of tension, so I need a massage. But you guys are explaining it in a way deeper way that a lot of the world doesn't know or understand. So thank you for that. Information that you're giving is useful information, but do you see them like using that through their whole journey in high school? Like, do you may remember something that you told a student and you will see them kind of picking up on it, or you might overhear a student say, yeah, Miss McCullough told me that, so how does that make you feel?
They will. And then when they come back and they're a nurse practitioner, they're a medical doctor, they are a teacher. Like the ones who are the teachers, most times are the ones who hated me the most. I mean, like they would say right behind my back, I can't stand her, she makes me sick. And then a couple years later, what are you doing now? I'm a teacher. Are you sure? Yes, I'm a teacher. Just hearing how I really did inspire them, I really did make a difference. And understanding that it is a journey, because maybe in my first 5 to 10 years, I didn't get a lot of that back, but like as I've grown, as I matured, as I've learned more, as I've humbled myself as a teacher to really not keep that barrier between us. Like for the longest time, my mentor said, don't let the kids see you smile. You keep your distance from those kids. You don't let those kids get close to you. You make sure they know who's in charge. And so you start those first years of your career out, and you do some damage to kids, because sometimes they need a smile. Sometimes they need a pat on the back. Sometimes they really need love. But they were like, you keep your distance, you keep yourself together. You don't let them see those things. And when I learned for myself to figure out my own journey in education and develop my own rapport with these kids, then it was different. But I'm not gonna say that they were totally wrong, because I was 22 when I started teaching. Those kids were only 3 or 4 years younger than me. You know, people date people 4 or 5 years younger than me. So really, what they told me was best for me at that time in my life. But as I grew older, you know, my journey grew. And, you know, I got a different rapport with those kids. And I can truly let them know that I love them now without it being an uncomfortable thing, without it making them feel infatuated, without me crossing lines or barriers, because things really can happen.
It sounds like you learned a lot as a teacher from students. Y'all need me, I don't need y'all. So it's like, be quiet and do this because y'all need me. I got my education. Y'all have to get y'all. So how do you, like, what do students teach you other than, you know, relationships and how to treat people? What else have they taught you?
Everybody is not the same. If I walk in a classroom and everybody's quiet and nobody's talking, that doesn't mean they're listening to me. They've taught me that good behavior doesn't mean a thing. You know, they taught me to talk to them, not to ignore them when they're quiet. Like, they taught me that, you know, they taught me that I have to never quit. They taught me to never ever say, I'm done for the day. There's no done for the day. It is keep on moving, because as I push them, they're pushing me. When they talk nasty to me and they curse me out, I don't write them off anymore. They teach me to be patient. They teach me to remain being kind. They teach me to keep being positive. They teach me to keep loving them in spite of the things that they do. They teach me to care about them. They teach me to really care about them. They teach me to care about their well-being. They teach me not to just brush them off as, you know what, I'm not messing with you today, and taking the easy road out. No. They give me a road with nails. They give me a road with big old boulder-sized pitfalls. But I keep climbing out, and I keep coming back, and I keep showing up to work, and then they see something different. And we're, like how you said, kids teaching me, you know, we are teaching each other. We really are.
There are some parents that you know, we don't accept this insurance. So do you think there's a way that they can make that better for all people? Like, do you think our healthcare system needs more work in that area?
Yes, we do need better services, especially for elderly people. Elderly people don't need to have to decide if I'm gonna buy food or medicine. Maybe there's some things that they can give them, or that they can do to prevent having to take so much medicine. You know, because you take one pill and the side effects are going to make you have to take another pill. The side effects of that pill is going to have, so now you got a whole table full of medication that you have to take for one disease, you know? So yes, there are other things that we could do for the elderly and for people, period, to prevent from having to take so much medication. Maybe in the younger years, teaching could teach people that, you know, no, you shouldn't drink Kool-Aid, you should drink more water, you know, at a young age, so that by the time you are 21 plus, you can, you know, you won't be ailing with so many different things.
So for those people that come to you and, you know, they have this insurance, but it might not take this medicine, or not, it might not cover this treatment, what advice do you give to them to help them? Or if you have a solution, what do you tell them?
So at the particular facility that I work at, we do give vouchers. So if my patient comes in and they have a certain kind of insurance, let's say they have medical assistance, which is state insurance or government insurance, it may not pay for a certain eye drop, so we will either give them a voucher or give them another kind of eye drop. Now, whether the second one works as good as the first one, we won't know until they try it. But giving them the voucher will allow them to use the first medicine, and it'll work. So we do vouchers, and it goes out to, again, you know, who you are, what your situation is, what your circumstances are.
During COVID, there was a lot of change, and we've seen that there was a lot of people in and out of the hospital, and most of those people didn't even believe that COVID was a real thing. So did that have any effect on your job and how you were helping people or what you had to do?
So the effect that it had was me continuously telling people to pull up your mask, cover your both nose and your mouth. You know, if you only have your mouth covered, you're still breathing the air through your nose. So cover both mouth and nose. Yes, COVID was a thing, whether or not it was bred here or bred in another country or whatever the case it was here. We were afraid, everybody was afraid because they didn't know anything about it. So, you know, everybody had different feelings about it. You know, people felt like it was the government trying to sabotage something. A lot of people died. So, because the nurses were afraid, the doctors were afraid. So, we didn't know what to do. So, there was a lot of research that, you know, took place, and, you know, so now we find ourselves here today.
So being entrepreneur and owner, is there some things that you take from working in the hair salon, and you take it to work and you say, hey, I learned this at work today, let me tell these people about this. Or I learned this at John Hopkins today, let me tell my, you know, customer
Yes,
about this.
my staff and my customers, yes. Washing your hands. I don't use hand sanitizer if I can get to soap and water. I would prefer to, if I go into a restaurant, I'm not using hand sanitizer. I need to get to a bathroom so that I can wash my hands with soap and water. If I'm using the Purell or the sanitizer, all I'm doing is rubbing the dirt all around, rubbing the germs all over my hands. So I try to get to soap and water, and I try to let people know that you should get to soap and water first. Eventually, just like medication, the Purell is no longer going to kill the germs. So you're walking around with pocketbooks full of Purell and it's not working. So all you're doing is putting alcohol on your hands and you're drying them out.
See, that's interesting because I did not know that, because everybody's like hand sanitizer, you know, in school they have hand sanitizer in the classrooms and they're like just squirting it around in everyone's hands. So I did not know that.
Yeah.
For owning what made you own your own hair salon? Because the beauty industry can be a tough industry. Even owning your own hair salon, becoming your own boss, like that can be difficult. So how did you get into that journey?
Because I wanted locks and I needed to teach some people how to do it. Because when I went to Baltimore, I had locks and no one was doing locks. So I had to teach some young girls how to do it. And so in order for that to happen, I had to open up a salon. So I opened up a little storefront, and that was in 2002. And I'm here today still with the salon, same salon. Different location, but same salon.
So when I was younger, I wanted locks so bad, and my mom was like, "No, you're gonna get rid of them." And it was a lot of people like, "Ew, why would you, get that?" And nowadays we're saying everyone has locks. 4 of us have locks, so 5 of us have locks. So, like, why do you think there's a change in now people more accepting of naturalness than they were before?
Well, now it has become a fad. For me, it was a way of life, and for some of the older people, it was a way of life. I'm just natural. We do natural things. I'm eating natural food, and now it's become a thing, now that women know that, you don't want to perm your hair because it can cause different problems for you. Or if you're a woman of a certain age, you can perm it all you want. It's still going to kink up, curl up because you're having these sweats. So, so you figure, well, I'm not going to keep perming my hair. I might as well go natural. And, people say, oh, well, I don't know. How could you deal with that? You went natural. No, I didn't go natural. I was always natural. I'm no longer texturized, Yeah, we no longer know how to deal with our God-given hair, the way that you were born. And so there are advocates that are going around from state to state. In New York City, they just, as of 2021, they are now allowed to wear their natural hair to work, to school. Different states tell graduates that you can't, you're going to graduate, but you can't come to the prom looking like that. And you can't graduate, walk across the stage with your hair looking like that. And so my answer and my question is always, looking like what? Because this is how it grows out of my scalp. Now, maybe not necessarily in this pretty style, but it grows out this texture. So what do you think that I should do? Because I'm not European. So I have to wear it like this, And so they say to tame it. And I say, well, what does that mean? So there's there's a dialogue that you have to have with whomever is telling you, and I don't care who it is, but whomever is telling you that you should change your hair, because this is what God gave me. So if I'm a Christian and I'm going with what they say, I'm not, but if I was, then what's wrong with this? It's the way I was born. So me not being able to, having to drive from Baltimore to New York every 2 or 3 weeks to get my hair done, I said, oh, I can't keep doing this. It's killing my little car. So I opened up a storefront in Baltimore, and I taught some ladies, and the particular group that I taught, 2 of them now have their own salons. And the other one went back to corporate America. And she still has locks, so she still comes and gets them done. And, I just bring on the younger women that want to now do locks and, learn about their natural hair and natural styling. I bring them on board. So now I've got 3 young ladies, 3.5, and a trainee. So we are now, we're trying to expand and let everybody know that, no, you really are not your hair. If you were bald, it would still be the same thing. You would be the same person. Whether you have hair down to here, no hair at all, natural, straight, or whatever. Your hair should not and does not affect your way of life and who you are as a person.
So you probably, it sounds like your shop is a comfort to a lot of women in the area. So how, for women that come in here and they're getting their hair done, but it's deeper than their hair, like they're probably seeking some advice or something, like how do you deal with that?
A lot of women come in and they say, well, I want locks, but I can't deal with that beginning stage. And I say, well, what do you mean? The beginning stage is when they're really short.
Yeah.
And they say, yeah, they want extensions. And I explain to them that the extensions are $1,000 for the first 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just have money thrown around like that, I need these shoes that I saw in the Gucci magazine. I try to talk them out of spending that kind of money on hair, because it will grow, and it will grow really quickly if you're not combing it and doing things to it on a regular basis. In 2009, Johns Hopkins put out the message about breast and uterine cancer that just came out last year. they had that out since 2009. So I've been speaking to it. I have the article in my salon now showing women that you really don't want to perm your hair. When you put lotion on, it seeps in so that your skin is soft. When you put lye on your scalp, because you got to put it on your scalp to touch up, you're letting that seep into your brain, because this is where your brain is, you know. So do you really want to do that? You know, I tell them, get some, you know, other styles and stay natural and just do some other things, you know, do some braids, do some twists until it grows out a long enough length that you're comfortable with having starter lines.
So I have grown up like perming our hair in those things. So when you go into the hospital and there may be someone that comes in there with breast cancer or something, and they don't know, and then you might just say, well, I see you have a relaxed hair. How long have you been perming your hair? And they're like, 30 years or something. So how does the hospital deal with that? Do they even know about that at all?
2007 to 2009. And so it's not something that they're going to push on their patients, because now that's opening up another door, a whole can of worms actually. Because are you now telling me that because I perm my hair now that's why I have breast cancer? That might not be the case.
Yeah.
You know, it could be in your DNA. I have 7 aunts that passed from breast cancer. Not one of them permed their hair. So, you know, you can't say that, but you can say that there's a possibility that you may have, but it's not something that's written in stone. So everybody is different. So no, I don't discuss it at all. I try not to discuss hair at the job at all. People that find out that I do own a salon, they always wanna, oh, let's talk to Miss D. She knows about that. And I try not to do it. But I wind up doing it anyway. But I try not to.
So do you think that those companies like cigarettes, even though it says on the box, warning, this can cause lung and throat cancer, but people still buy it. So do you think that companies need to be held accountable, or is it just up to us?
Causing me to want to smoke the cigarettes other than just what I smoke them for, if I'm making sense. Like in San Diego, they don't sell Newport 100s in a box. So they don't sell Newport cigarettes, period, because they say that the menthol in the Newports are higher than they are in other cigarettes. So my niece smokes Newport, so she has her sister in Vegas just send her cigarettes. You know, yeah, it may be the menthol that they give to certain neighborhoods or whatever, but as an adult now, I know better. So, you know, who am I holding accountable? I should be looking in the mirror.
Well, this was an enlightening conversation. I learned a lot, and thankful that all of you chose to be here with me today and to give this information and tell your story and your journey. I truly appreciate it, and I will definitely take everything that I learned into account and guide it with me through the rest of my journey. So thank you all for being here with me today.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you all for joining me for Her Journey State of Our Union Women's Conference. It was great talking to you. Thank you.
Blessings to all of you.